Hey, it's Lydia, and I'm back this week for week number 6. Can you believe it's already been 6 weeks into the month, or the year 2022? It's hard for me to believe. But I'm back to share with you what we had to eat this week, some things that I was able to do that were frugal, and how I was able to make money to pay for our groceries. If you haven't been following along, I'm trying to pay for our groceries as a stay-at-home mom, and make the money as a stay-at-home mom. So, first off, I'm going to share with you what we had to eat this week. And something I like about a menu plan is you plan and you make it work for you. So this last week, I had planned a meal that we had shredded pork last weekend, and we had a decent amount left over that we were going to have it for leftovers throughout the week. And I had planned to have it again yesterday because I have 4 pork roasts in my freezer that I need to use up. And it just didn't sound good because, we'd had it. That would be a decent amount of leftovers if I used 2 or if we cooked them all up. And I just didn't want it. So you know what? We changed our menu plan. And that's okay. There's no problem with doing that. Just because it's on paper doesn't mean that I have to do exactly what is there. But it gives me some focus. It helps me to decide at the beginning of the week, think once about the week of meals, and then change as I see fit. So what we had this last week for meals are, we had potato soup. I had some bratwurst that were left over from last week, and so I cut those up and added some potatoes and some onions to it, and we had some potato soup. I also cooked a whole chicken. I actually did 2. We raised our own chickens this last summer, and we had a few that were pretty tiny. And so I cooked up 2 because, a 3-pound chicken is not going to be enough to feed our family and have any leftovers. So we did 2 of those, and I learned that if you teach your girls that there's wishbones in chicken, they will pull the meat off the bone and search for a wishbone. So, believe me, I'm going to be using that to my advantage, because that is probably my least favorite thing about a chicken, is picking it off the bone. But they did that for me, and honestly did a pretty good job. I always then take my chicken bones and I put them in the Instant Pot and I cook them down to make chicken broth. I'm learning the benefits of that, especially postpartum and with my hair loss. If you look, I got like this crazy hair going sometimes because I lose a lot of hair, and I was buying collagen peptides and they're expensive. So I've been trying to just make my own chicken broth and put those into our meals and expand that way. Like I made rice this week, and instead of using water, I used chicken broth. And so I'm able to get that gelatin into our body a little bit easier than like just drinking a cup of chicken broth. So we had a chicken. We also had bacon and eggs for supper one night. And then something I'm learning is chicken breasts at the store are so tempting. And I've actually had a package in my freezer for months that I need to pull out and use. But I'm learning, you can use a whole chicken and use that chicken for meals as well. It does not have to be chicken breast. So we had orange chicken. We found a recipe that was similar to Panda Express. It didn't taste exactly like it because we didn't have half the ingredients, and my husband actually made that meal for us, bless him. But he kind of compromised and, made do with what we had, and it was pretty good. But we just used leftover chicken, cut it up. He actually breaded it, and it tasted pretty good. So it doesn't have to be chicken breast. We don't have to pay that prime amount for chicken breast at the store. We can compromise. And those chickens were ones we had raised, so I know what went into those chickens. I'm not guessing what those chickens had and, not knowing what went into them. Because, chicken breast at the store, who knows. And then this is the one that we were going to have, the shredded pork that we didn't end up having. So I actually made sourdough bread this last week, and I've been making 3 loaves, and I got an extra loaf pan from my mom because she had an extra. So I made 4 and decided to try to sell 2 just to see what the market was like in the area, and I ended up selling 5 loaves. So I needed to make an extra batch and deliver them to somebody, and I decided to redeem some bucket pizzas and order a pizza instead of cooking. So we had some pizza for supper last night, and so not the probably the best option, but it was nice to be able to do that. So one of the things that I actually made money on this last week was the sourdough bread. I figured up how much it cost me to make a loaf of bread. It's 98 cents, not counting the electricity that it takes, because I suppose I probably could figure that out somehow, but I'm already cooking bread for my family, and so I'm just adding on a few extra loaves to be able to sell. And I'm selling those loaves right now for $5 a loaf. We'll see. When I saw what the market was, I need to do a little research and see what sourdough bread is going for, and see if I can command maybe $1 or $2 more, or if I just need to stay at the $5. I'm not sure. If you buy sourdough bread, I'd love to know what you pay. It's kind of an off season because we don't have farmers market, so people can't buy at the farmers market. So I don't know if I could command a higher price or not, or if I just need to stick with the $5 and be done. But something I learned was I don't really want to cook on demand. I'd rather just make for our family. I have 2 extra loaves, throw them up. Here's 2 loaves that you can buy if you're interested. And when they're gone, they're gone. I'm not baking anymore, because I made the 3 loaves and then I worried, what happens when they don't turn out? You know, I have to have these to this person by 5 o'clock tonight, and they're done at 3 o'clock. And what happens when I burn one, or they flop and they don't rise or something? So I don't like that aspect. I'd rather have them ready and say, you know, they're ready. If you want them, they'll be ready and you can have them tomorrow. So yeah, but what I made this last week, so with that sourdough bread, with the 5 loaves, I made $25. So that will go back into our groceries. I sold something on eBay that I had listed for months and months and months. And I'm almost at the point that I just want them out of my house and to donate them, but I sold one of them for $22. So I think I'll keep them around for a little bit, because they're all kind of along that same line, and it's going to be just a long sale, but it doesn't take up much room when they're in my basement. So it's not the end of the world if they sit there for a while. And then also my pallet I bought at the beginning of the year. For some reason this last weekend I sold several things. So that was $126 that I was able to put towards my grocery budget. So I feel like I have a little bit of money in my grocery budget again. Although I still have not gotten into financial coaching. I have the book out to figure out the forms that I need to send to people, and I need to work on that this next week. I've just been learning about one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time, and I really just need to make myself go one step at a time and get there. So what I spent on groceries this last week, so this was last weekend, and I've already gone this weekend for kind of what I'm spending for the next week. I spent $56.53 on groceries. I stocked up on some butter. I tried to stock up on potatoes, but Kroger was out, and I learned they don't do rain checks on their digital deals, or their coupons, like their 5 weekly coupons. They didn't do the rain check for that. I was a little bummed, because they had potatoes for really cheap. But that's okay. And I was able to use $5 of my Fetch rewards to pay for my groceries as well. Something I want to check out, and I've never done this before, so I don't know if this is the case, but I've heard that the week after Super Bowl, so like Monday, groceries are supposed to be cheap. Not all groceries, obviously, but like, you know, they have a tray of deli meat or a tray of fruit or something that you would buy at the grocery store, take home for a party, and have at your party. They're supposed to be cheaper next week, marked down, because they need to get rid of what they didn't sell. So part of me is kicking around, do I want to run to the grocery store Monday and see? Does anybody have any experience with that? Do you know if they are cheaper or not? If not, maybe it's a day you want to head to the grocery store and see if they are, if you're already out and about or going that way. So that was our week, kind of in a nutshell, and I hope that you've been able to eat from your pantry this last week and save yourself some money, and I will hopefully see you again next week with an update of how things are going here, and I hope that you have a great weekend. I'll talk to you later. Bye!